Hey guys, welcome to your channel. We are going to discuss a very important topic from today's Hindu newspaper article. This topic, Indo-Pacific, is very much in news, whether it is because of the concerns raised by China or whether it is because of India's various naval exercises, bilateral and trilateral naval exercises held by India with different countries. Indo-Pacific domains the air and it is equally important for pre and mains. The article is charting a clear course in the Indo-Pacific. I have chosen some terms from the article. These terms are important because when you read international relationship, you will frequently find these names. If you do not know what does this term stands for, then sometimes you find difficulty in understanding international relationship. So it is your duty to find out their relevance and their necessity. So these terms are Act East Policy, ASEAN, Indian Oceanarium Association, BIMSTEC, Mekong-Gonga Economic Corridor, Quad, Uhun Summit, Sochi Summit, and Shangri-La Dialogue. Here, Quad, Uhun Summit, Sochi Summit are very important. Uhun Summit was an informal dialogue held between India and China. Sochi Summit is an informal dialogue held between India and Russia. And Shangri-La Dialogue. Shangri-La name was originally initially mentioned as an imaginary town in a novel called Lost Horizon, but I think currently it is in China. Shangri-La Dialogue is a premier security dialogue among ASEAN countries. It is an ASEAN, you can say it is an ASEAN Defense Summit. Here, representative of the countries debate the security challenges of the region and thereby tries to find out the solution. And when we say Indo-Pacific, in general view, it is a policy that connects Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean and thereby connects the regional countries bordering these two seas. But when we say from the theoretical point of view, India's Indo-Pacific policy is much more shaped or influenced by a quad dialogue. What is quad or quadrilateral dialogue? Quadrilateral dialogue was initially initiated by the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe in 2007, and along with time it has gained momentum because of the various contexts. So, quadrilateral vision or quad dialogue is initiated by the four countries to especially with the purpose to counter China's aggression in Indo-Pacific. These four countries are mainly US, Japan, India, and Australia. Then we have to try to find out that what is India's vision or what is India's policy regarding Quad. When we say this, when we can discuss this topic, discuss this aspect, then first we have to do Act East Policy. Act East Policy of India almost coincides with this Quad vision because some important purposes of Act East Policy like South Asian Regional Cooperation means gaining a cooperation among the South Asian countries, countering China, establish a strong naval power in South Asian water. These all three purposes are almost coincided by Quad vision. So we can say that you might find the question in mains exam that the vision expressed by the quadrilateral dialogue is embedded in India's Act East Policy. In this way, you might find a question. Right. For mains perspective, you can prepare a note from this dialogue, from this topic. Then another important thing, the Shangri-La Dialogue. This Shangri-La Dialogue, which was held in 2018 actually, expresses India's clear intention regarding quadrilateral dialogue. And here it says that Prime Minister of India in this dialogue says that India does not see the Indo-Pacific region as a strategy or as a club of limited numbers, nor as a grouping that seeks to dominate, and by no means do we consider it as directed against any country. So as per the Shangri-La Dialogue, it is clear that India's vision towards Quad is not limited within the four countries as we have discussed initially. So from this perspective, India's vision towards Quad, India's vision towards Indo-Pacific is not only a limitation of power, it also an opportunity or it is an approach to engage all the countries in a cooperative way so that all the countries can gain equal opportunity from the Indo-Pacific. That means India's vision or India's policy towards Indo-Pacific is not exclusive to a particular countries. It is equally open to all the countries to exploit the opportunities in a cooperative way. But here, this actually raises concerns. There are some critical points regarding view that expressing this dialogue throughout this, yeah, limiting without limiting the Indo-Pacific up to certain countries. Thus, India loses the only opportunity to counter China. Whether India has lost the only opportunity to counter China by failing by failing to engage quadrilateral dialogue within certain countries. So it is very important because it is in recent times in which way China is growing in an aggressive way. From that perspective, sometimes it is thought that India needs to exclusively limit the quadrilateral dialogue. Yeah, India needs to exclusively limit Indo-Pacific within certain countries so that India can effectively establish her base, or India can effectively establish her naval exercises, or India can effectively able to militarize the Indo-Pacific. If India opens the Indo-Pacific to all the countries, then from some perspective, India will not be able to gain the momentum from the term Indo-Pacific. So the concern is that whether it is India's failure or whether India has done a mistake by opening Indo-Pacific to all the countries rather than limiting it to a certain club. So it is a top thing. It is a critical concern which you need to think. Right. Then, if Indo-Pacific is there a necessity to establish a particular forum regarding Indo-Pacific with certain countries to leverage the China or to leverage other countries? Right. So it is a very important concern. It is a very important critical point here. Then again, another point is that Uhun Chamit and Sochi Chamit. That we say that India has expressed her views that quadrilateral dialogue or Indo-Pacific is not limited to certain countries. It is much more influenced by Uhun Chamit and Sochi Summit because China and Russia are continuously expressing doubt over this Indo-Pacific region or quadrilateral dialogue. Right. So India's vision or India's view in this case is much more influenced by Uhun Chamit and Sochi Summit. There are some concerns at the current scenario regarding because recently we have seen that their US policy towards India and South Asia. Even in today's paper, you will find that Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asian Affairs. This is a post in American White House. This post is still vacant. Right. American president has not fulfilled this post. Still, right. So it shows that somehow that White House administration is not so much keen, right, towards Central Asian or South Asian affairs. So recently we have found that Iran and India problems, Iran and USA problems. Besides this, the matter of China and Pakistan, Afghanistan. In such a context, then how, to what extent India and USA will able to engage in quadrilateral dialogue? Right, in that way, China's growing involvement in South Asia, while China is aggressively trying to occupy South Asia, to whether it is ocean, whether it is a road, whether like Belt and Road Initiative, Belt Road Initiative, or whether it is throughout giving economic loans, right, financial aid or financial assistance. In such a scenario, in the face of China's such growing intense extension, whether India can whether India can withstand China's growing involvement in Southeast Asia throughout quadrilateral dialogue, it is again another thing. And another concern is the doubt expressed by Russia. Recently, Russia and we all know that Russia and India has a very good historical relationship. But recently, Russia has expressed her concerns regarding India's Indo-Pacific or quadrilateral dialogue. So in such case, what should be the India's policy towards Indo-Pacific? Right, these are some concerns. And again, some important some important mains question this topic has correlate is what are the recent India's naval exercises based on Indo-Pacific region? These are important, right? You can prepare a note. Some advantages of an effective quadrilateral dialogue or effective Indo-Pacific policy of India can be mentioned as strong maritime base, naval exercises, connectivity and trade, cultural exchange, prevent terrorism and piracy, help in disaster management. Here you need to find out some effective solutions where India can engage in throughout which India can engage in quadrilateral dialogue without making disappoint any party as well as securing regional cooperation. Right, it is your duty try to find out the solutions.